even though I am still trying to get all the pieces put together. But you know what, folks? The show must go on, and it must go on in a timely manner. But I had this video that I was preparing for you guys that I needed to make sure you see with the UAW president, the United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain. It's one that I think you're going to enjoy, that you all need to see. But let's go ahead and get busy. Bridge MCP from upstate New York is in the house. So is Eric Hayes in the house. So is, let's see what else we got here. E2247 in the house. Eric Hayes from, let's see, actually, I started wrong again. Eric Hayes from Atascocita/Kingwood, Lee Grant from Montgomery County, Bridge MCP for upstate New York. We also have E2247 from all those fancy words that he uses. Lee Grant, I think I said that already, but that is Montgomery County. AVQ, Brooklyn, New York. Melanie Keelan, Barcelona, Spain. Michael Rudnin, Brooklyn, I called that out already, and I'm scrolling up. Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, guys, you guys were the first one in the house. Anyhow, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. All right, let's see where do we start? You guys got a lot of stuff written already. Michael said, can someone remind me, why do we have troops in Jordan? We have troops in several hundred bases around the world. It's just a matter of keeping our footprints to spy, to have a quick shot at anything to protect our oil and to make sure that other folks don't get into the Middle East, senor. BBC, there are about 3,000 U.S. troops based in Jordan, a key U.S. ally, and 2,500 in Iraq. There are at the invitation of the Iraqi government as part of the U.S.-led coalition to prevent a resurgence of the jihadist Islamic State group, which will have a president. No, that's not at behest. Look, 2,500 U.S. soldiers, when the Iraqi army have several 100,000, and if there's an insurgent, they can take care of itself. No, that is for us to have a presence, eyeball, and let folks know our eyes are on you. It's just getting into other people's business, as we do very well. Like, we think we are the police of the world. We will control everything. So we have hundreds of bases, my friend. It's not Iraq and Jordan. It's in just about, our footprint is everywhere. There was a time we had 14 bases in Panama. That little strip of land called Panama, the Canal Zone, 14 bases. Wouldn't surprise me if there's still some that just not named, but bases out there. Wouldn't surprise me. We are all over the place. That's your dollar. All right, let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP says, Michael, what are U.S. forces doing in Jordan? There are multiple reasons for U.S. deploying troops to Jordan, which borders Syria and Iraq. But one of the main reasons U.S. forces are in the Middle East is to help the Jordanian Defense Force network repel the Islamic State. There are 350 U.S. Army and Air Force personnel deployed to bases conducting a number of support functions, according to the U.S. Central Command. However, there are approximately 3,000 troops stationed in Jordan total. There is 2,500 in Iraq who are at the invitation of the government to help defend against ISIS, and 900 in Syria. Well, we are not in Syria by the invitation of Hafez al-Assad. You know, he doesn't particularly like us. He's more aligned with Russia. So we are not in Syria by invitation. There are still members of ISIS believed to be in Iraq. The U.S. has also largely used Jordan as a base area for the Middle East, given its proximity to U.S. allies or adversaries in the region, including Israel, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. That's it. Lee Grant says, a group called Take Our Border Back on Monday launched a cross-country convoy starting in Virginia and scheduled to end Saturday with separate rallies in Eagle Pass along the Texas-Mexico border and in communities in Arizona and California that are considered hotspots for unlawful immigration. And all those business people that are going to make a lot of money arranging this event, going to use all those right-wing people as suckers. They're going to say, we are going to make some money off of these suckers. We're going to use xenophobia. We will use xenophobia to pocket, to fill us up with your money. That's what it's all about, people. You guys are cash cows. You barely have a pot to do what in, but you're there to give them the money. Why don't you send some to Politics Done Right who's giving you the truth? Come on, guys. Don't you see the scam? Don't you see the scam? Don't you see the grift? It's not hard to see. Rile them up about something. Get the caravan going. And along the way, we make a lot of money as they are coming here to fight against all those illegals coming over the border. Get those illegals out. I want you to see one of the interviews that Shawn Fain from the UAW gave. And he was so circumspect in the way he talks about the border issue. And I wish more Democrats will just do that. Call these zealots out. Call these xenophobes out. And unfortunately, these xenophobes are just fearful from what the real xenophobes are putting onto them. Because the real xenophobes are the folks that are profiting off of all you guys that believe, oh my God, Taylor Swift, there's a conspiracy that makes her an agent of the government to get into the Super Bowl. Oh my God. You have to wonder often how real this crap is. All right, let's continue. Michael Ronan said, Eric, the message is that people are pissed off about what some politicians have done recently. I had wager many people have been activated over Republican attacks on women abortions, as well as our foreign policy. Look, I tell you what, I was starting to be concerned about the election in November. I'm starting to think landslide. I don't care what the polls say right now, but I am starting to think landslide. You remember the last time they tried this stuff with the immigration thing, how it sort of fizzled out because people realized what it was really all about? I see this happening. I see it happening. I want them to continue because the election is not going to be on immigration. The election is going to be on women's issues and personal economies. That's what the election is, not on immigration. That's what they would like it to be on. They would love for it to be on immigration, but it won't. Okay? Ultimately, when people go to the ballot box, it won't be immigration. Let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says, a would-be strongman says he's immune from the legal system. E. Jean Carroll civil case challenged that assertion. And she won. All right, Paul Fleming is in the house from Atlanta, Georgia. How you doing, brother Paul? Let's see what else we got here. Paul says, Representative Katie Parker said in 2023, special interests led by Big Pharma spent a record $4.2 billion lobbying Congress. Corporate influence in Washington is no joke. My Congress at Worked Act would put Congress members disclose who they meet with so Californians know if our representatives are working for us. Mike Cisak says, Paul Fleming, you keep making the wrong assertions. Actually, no, Mr. Cisak. Paul Fleming is actually correct. Daniel Edo says, caravan of illegal aliens, that's fine. Caravans of Americans, that's bad. Well, it all depends on the caravan. There was a caravan under Andrew Jackson called the Trail of Tears. Let's not forget that caravan. We have a history in this country of not following treaties. We have a history in this country of doing all these things. But you forget, Mr. Ledo, get your morality correct. Grant says 736 known as a suspected terrorist apprehended in U.S. border in fiscal 2023. So what? How many came in via the airlines? Wonder, right? Michael Rodin says, here's the thing about borders. Immigrants will come to the United States to work in our farms and kitchens and other low-wage, hard-work jobs that our people don't want. If the borders are open, they'll go back home after their work is done. If the borders are closed, they'll remain here because they won't know if they can cut back again to work. And the silly thing about it is this. Remember what we say. A lot of people come here because our people, our American brothers and sisters, hire them. They want the labor. They want it. All right? So if you want to know who's breaking the law, let's come to my town, Kingwood, Texas. I want you to go into every one of these people's homes who have hired, quote unquote, hired somebody to come and clean their home, clean their yards, clean their pools, etc., etc., etc. Ask them if they filled out either a 1099 or a 10-4 for their SS4 for the people who did work for them. The answer is no, which means then they are breaking the law. They're illegal hirers. They're illegal employers. So if you really want to call the people who are coming over the border illegals, then the people in Kingwood and throughout this country that hire these people to do their lawns, etc., they are themselves illegals. They're committing a crime. But we don't look at things that way, do we? We don't like to see the truth. We are always ready to take all this other stuff, So that is what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about. A lot of the times you see those people, they don't. Anyway, we'll continue. Paul Fleming says, you regularly remind that if not for Trump and Bush tax cuts, federal revenues would keep pace with federal spending indefinitely. Instead, these tax cuts have added $10 trillion to the debt. The so-called party fiscal responsibility is full of it. They have never been responsible or fiscally or otherwise. Never have been responsible, fiscal or otherwise. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Lee Grant says, history is complex. Natives bought their black slaves with them on the Trail of Tears. Well, you know what's interesting? You can try to put that into some sort of a context, right? But that isn't quite the case, because if they went to court to get anything, it would not have computed. Anyway, let me get what our sister wants on the screen. Let me get that on the screen for her. Vamos a ver. Está ahí ahora. Let's get to that screen. Oh, I have the wrong thing. Oh, I got to rearrange my screens. I had all kind of, like I said, I was in a hurry getting here. So I got to rearrange the screen. Let me move the chat into this screen here. Come on, chat. Hold your position. Let me put Vrija's stuff here before I get it on the screen. And let me go ahead and put the Daily Kos stuff that I'm putting together here. Lo tengo perfectamente ahora. Okay, and now that we're blinking, I'm going to give you a non-blinking screen and then take it off. There we go. All right, live your life in such a way that merely existing terrifies weak men. Oh, that is such a great statement. These people are so terrified. I don't know of what, but they're listening to people who make them scared about anything. The aliens are coming to attack you. The illegals are coming to attack you. Oh my God, it must be difficult living under such fear, such manufactured fear. I love Taylor Swift, self-made woman. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, let's continue, my friends. Let's continue. All right. We continue. Let's see. Yvette Avery Herod says, union, yes, management should organize. Their jobs aren't protected. True. And you would know that, my dear. You actually know that. But you know what? Let's see. I am going to Biden versus Trump. Biden wins. MAGA are the only ones who still like Trump. Right-leaning independents and center-right conservatives remember January 6th and don't like that Trump has said and done. Trump also has a high chance of going to prison over the 91 charges before general starts. Republicans can win elections with MAGAs alone, but can't. Biden versus Haley. Biden wins. MAGA won't vote for Haley. And Republicans can't win without the MAGA T vote. You might notice the pattern. Republicans who back Trump can't win with independents. Republicans who are never Trump can't win with the alt-right vote. Egberto, you're expecting a blue tsunami in 2024? Yeah, me as well. So long as Democrats can give people a reason to vote, Democrats need to continue pushing economic and environmental messages, as well as focusing on popular wedge issues. So mark my word. And I will come here and say, oh, you guys got me. But it's a landslide coming. And it's not only in the federal election. It's not only in the presidency. It's not only in it's not only in the Senate. It's not only in the House. The slaughter will occur in the local legislatures as well. I am telling you, I woke up a few days ago and I'm like, wait a minute. What am I not seeing? Americans are not stupid. 2020, 2022, 2023, these polls have not been corroborating the general because they have been given more voice and weight to a dying sect. There will be a blue landslide. I repeat, there will be a blue landslide. Let's see what it's Yvette Avery said. I was fired the first day after the new year and back by that Thursday with back pay. They're coming after us for various reasons. Most of it won't stick. I hear. Oh wait, Yvette, are you talking about recently? Yvette, call in. I want to hear that story, Yvette. Yvette, call. I mean, I want to hear that story, girl, about being fired recently with the new and having the protection of the union. Please, please, please call in. I want to hear your story. I really want to hear your story. If you're still here and you can call, please call 28. Let me put it in the chat. 281-823-7747. I want your story, if you can give it, that is. I don't know if there are implications, but if you can call in, 281-823-7747. I just placed it in the chat. I want all of us to hear that story if you have the ability to do so. Okay, great. Good afternoon. Yvette Avery Herod, our what do I call you? Our union specialist, union organizer, union activist. Pleasure having you on the phone today, my friend. All right, how you doing?
Thank you for asking me to call in. I can't complain. How about yourself?
I can't complain either, especially since I really see the revival of the union movement. Now, your union had a win. You wanted them to hold out for more. They didn't, but still, I think you will get some benefits from the UAW, the union with the UPS contract. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. So I just saw your notice there that you said they fired you one day and a few days after they had to hire you back. What happened?
Yeah, so I've been having issues with the division manager who just really does not like the union, and I guess me in particular, because I enforced the contract. So my local bought all the union stewards vests, which are just, visibility vests, safety vests to wear. And they have the union logo and our local printed on them. And he didn't want me to wear that vest on the clock. He said, I can't wear it while I'm clocked in. So because I wouldn't take it off right then, and I said that I'll take it off like I always do right before I leave the building in my truck to go deliver, he decided to terminate me. The Tuesday we came back after New Year's. So very petty, very it didn't count for anything. Never should have been done. But, the company is doing a lot of these frivolous terminations just to, intimidate and harass our members. And so I think he thought that would, help his cause, but it actually really didn't.
So let me see if I understand this right. Now that you guys have won the case, some in management now, they want to sort of extract a piece of flesh from all of you leaders who were out there organizing the troops to make sure that you won. They are trying to get a piece of flesh.
Right. Unfortunately, UPS has had a culture of harassment for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they've gotten away with it, and people didn't recognize how to fight it. And so that's been one of my things that I've been trying to educate since I've been the union steward at my current building, is the education on how to deal with harassment. So I've been enforcing that. People have been, paying attention and following it. Actually, we've seen movement within our management because of those steps we've taken. So, it's not very, they don't like me that much because of that. But my people shouldn't have to come to work and suffer and feel harassed and intimidated. We just come to work, do our job, fair day's work for a fair day's pay, and go home. But it's definitely been an additional challenge since the contract was put in place.
Well, look, I tell you what, like usual, we are so proud of your perseverance and not ever letting them knock you down. So let me ask you the important question. After they fired you, and the few days that you were off, was it the union that came and said, you can't do that?
Oh, well, of course. I mean, I notified my business agent immediately, and, we went into the process. They offered me my job back the exact same day, actually. But they wanted to not give me back pay and have a suspension on my record, which I did not accept. So I turned down that offer. They gave another offer that I turned down, and they finally came back with back pay and no suspension on your record. So that's when I accepted and came on back to work Thursday.
Congratulations. You know what is so amazing with this story? Even though they know they were wrong, they wanted to have a little thing on your record. There's a suspension. So when there is another issue in the future, they will be able to say, hey, but look, you see, back in 2024, she had a suspension. So this is a problem employee. By standing your ground, Yvette, you did exactly what the American worker needs to do with this corporate crap. And that is stand your ground and not allow them to take advantage of you. That's why we're so proud of you, sister. That's why we're so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
You've continued. You continue to do what's necessary. You're organized, the American worker, and as a member of the workers, you don't back down. You're a hero. Not hero of the day. You're a hero.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the call, Yvette.
Anytime. Thank you.
Take care now, sis. All right. As you can see, folks, anybody who doubts every worker should be in a union, Yvette's story says it all. Anyone who believes you should not be in a union, you listen to Yvette's story. Because that is what having a union do for you. If she was alone, anybody that's alone, if a manager doesn't like you for whatever reason it could be, terminated, bye-bye. No rights for the worker. No rights for the person who's actually doing the work. And that's what unionizations do. You know what? The Chamber of Commerce is there for all businesses. You know what? The union for all these other things are there for others. I am so happy that Yvette told us that story. Yvette, by the way, this one plays on KPFT tomorrow, because what we want to do is we want people, all Americans, to see the value in being in a union. The value in having workers who can come together and win against a corporate class that simply are parasitic in general against their employees. They want all the spoils. All the spoils. Oh, wow. Okay, you know what? I didn't see that notice about the 12K layoff. Hey, Yvette, Bridge MCP wanted to hear about the 12,000 people that supposedly UPS is laying off. If you have anything to add to that story, feel free to call in again, because I would love to hear it from you then from the newspaper as well. So if you have anything to add to that story about 12,000 UPS workers losing their job, being laid off, I would love to hear that. But my hunch is isn't that the overflow from the Christmas hiring that they did? Okay, let's go to Yvette. Yvette, you want to address the 12K people that are supposedly being laid off?
Yeah, so the 12,000 people, it's mostly management and vendors. But of course, like I said, they're trying to frivolous efforts to try to get rid of us at any cost. If they can get some terminations to stick, that'll help them out too as well for their bottom line. And greed, of course. But they've been targeting their management for a few months now, actually, telling some of them they have 30 days to find another job within the system or they no longer work for the company. So they've been doing that all over the country for a while. But now I guess they're finally really trying to put it out there to let people know that management and vendors are the main focus.
Well, let me see if I understand this right. Management are not part of the union. Is that correct? Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
And management generally are high-paid workers. Is that correct as well?
Not necessarily. I mean, they consider, they're part-time supervisors and full-time supervisors. Some of our drivers and stuff like that may make even more than they do because we get raises based on our contract. Sometimes they'll get a raise, but this time they gave their part-time supervisors a raise and then they cut their hours. So in essence, they didn't get a raise. So They play with their numbers because they don't have a contract, of course, like we do. They can't do those type of things to us. So yeah, they've been coming after them for the past, few months since the contract went into effect as well.
It's amazing. Maybe they learn a lesson from you all and unionize themselves, because right now the UPS people don't understand this. There are the executives, there's management, there's shareholders, and there are workers. They're all stakeholders in different groupations. Now, the interesting thing about it is the people without representation, look at what happens. Thank you very much for calling back. I can't tell you how happy I am to get this info. Thank you so kindly.
No problem. All right. Bye-bye.
Take care, Yvette. Bye-bye. Okay, I hope that clears it up. Let's see. I want to show you the mindset. I want to show you and I hate to use it, but I must use it for the gravity of the situation. Because what we have learned to be is to be an enslaved people. Remember I said that slavery used to look like me. Slavery used to look like the color of your skin. But now slavery looks like Michael Ledoux. And let me read what Ledoux says here. Ledoux says, Egberta, unions overvalue labor that is easily and quickly replaced with little training. That overvaluation is harmful to the market. That is bubbly speak of how the master has trained the slave to think of the value of what he provides as service to that corporations. Why don't Daniel Ledoux look at the billions that let's say Elon Musk makes and ask, how did Elon Musk accumulate those billions of dollars if not of the excess labor of what Mr. Ledoux is calling overvalued labor? So overvalued labor is taking away more of the profit margin from that person who is taking and working on your back to become a billionaire. Think about that. I want you to think about Daniel Ledoux's thinking there. We look at UPS and these other companies. They pay a ton of money to shareholders who don't do any work. They sit at their pool and sip their coffee. They don't do any work, but they're making their dividends. Okay, because they own stock in the company. They look at the executive making bonuses from laying off as many managers now as they can to increase their profit margins. Okay, let's continue. So they're doing all these things to make money from not doing any work. But Daniel Ledoux thinks that the market will be that the labor is overvalued because that labor unit is asking for more for its services, so that less of it goes to those who do no work. if we can't learn to remove the chains from our minds. The chains from our arms were tough, but the chains in the mind is worse. I want you to listen to the president of the UAW president. I love this guy. I'm going to try to get this guy for an interview. Listen to what he has to say. The president of the UAW, Shawn Fain, he appeared on Morning Joe this morning, and I could not have been happier with what he had to say. And of course, we should know by now, Donald Trump is about to explode, because here is the guy that is courting a lot of the new Donald Trump voters, the white working class that Donald Trump thinks should be automatically his. Shawn Fain, he is speaking the language that those of us who are a part of our PDR posse understands well. He's speaking the language of not only the working class, but the people who actually do all of the work, from the person sweeping the grounds to the person washing the dishes to the lawyers, the doctors. How do they get a fair break? And he understands the billionaire concept quite well. He understands that the Trumps of the world, that all of these billionaires, they are doing it all on the backs of the American people, not anything that they've earned. So it is time, yes, for the UAW to engage fully to make sure that the worker is taken advantage of. He even called out Ronald Reagan for the last 43 years, since Ronald Reagan, that the American worker, 90%, the bottom 90%, in other words, the vast majority of Americans, their salaries have only increased 30% over that 43 years, 32% or so. When the upper 1%, the people who make, the people who really command what's to be done and not necessarily do the work, their increase over 300% over that same 43-year period. I mean, it has to stop. And it's great that he comes out and he provides this narrative that he's given. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side. I couldn't have said it any better.
Joe Biden has a history of serving others and serving the working class and fighting for the working class, standing with the working class. Donald Trump has a history of serving himself and standing for the billionaire class. And that's contrary to everything that working class people stand for.
Trump blasted UAW President Shawn Fain on his social media platform, accusing him of, quote, selling the automobile industry right into the big, powerful hands of China, adding, quote, get rid of this dough and vote for Donald J. Trump. I will bring the automobile industry back to our country.
Yeah. Let's bring in Shawn Fain right now. Talk about what's at stake in this election for workers, and talk about what's at stake for those people in your own union that are like, I know he supports billionaires and multinational corporations, but I just kind of like him. I'm going to vote for it.
And honestly, what this all comes down to, when we look at this election is, are we going to continue to go forward? Or are we going to go backwards? Trump's billionaire economy, Trump's tax breaks that he put in place when he was president that benefited, 85% of the benefit went to the top 1%, and never expired. Meanwhile, the minuscule benefits that went to working class people, it had an expiration date on it. That doesn't work for us. We look at what he's done, the body of work, throughout his presidency, and then Joe Biden through his presidency. It's a real clear picture. Donald Trump did not stand with working class people when he had the opportunity as president. We had the GM 40-day strike in 2019. Donald Trump was completely silent, never said a word. We had Lordstown Assembly Plant that was slated to close in 2019. Donald Trump told people, don't sell your houses, and he did nothing but blame the local union president, which was a complete joke. Joe Biden, in 2023, we had the same situation. A plant in Belvedere, Illinois was slated to close. Joe Biden engaged us. We got involved. We worked together, and we found a solution, not just to save a closing plant, but to add a second plant there and also save a dying community. Joe Biden joined us on the picket line and stood with us. Trump put in anti-union NLRB people, on the board and killed organizing. All the positive momentum we have going right now in this country for working class people. 75% of Americans supported us in our contract fight because the principle principles we're fighting for: wages, better benefits, healthcare, retirement security, getting our time, getting our lives back. That's what matters to working class people. Donald Trump doesn't want any of that for working class people. And he used the term weapon of mass destruction. The only weapon of mass destruction we've faced in the last 40 years has been corporate greed, because that's what drives this, and that's Trump's world.
Talk about what happened during the strike for those watching that didn't follow it so closely. We had Joe Biden going on the picket line, first president in U.S. history to do that. What did Donald Trump do?
Yeah, so that, again, it's a perfect contrast between the two candidates. I mean, you have, for the first time in history, a sitting U.S. president joining working class people, joining the workers on the picket line, standing up with them. And you had Donald Trump, who claims he supports the workers, who calls one of his business owner buddies and in a non-union factory, and he goes to this non-union factory and has a rally claiming that he's there for the union workers and the striking workers. It's what Trump does best. It's a rope-a-dope. Wants you to look over here, while over here he's taking everything away. I mean, it's the divide and conquer tactic, and that's what's worked for the billionaire class and the corporate class forever. They divide us over race, they divide us over gender. I mean, even I heard you guys talking earlier about border security. Even border security. When I look at that issue, I see my grandparents. The only difference when I see destitute people that are desperate trying to cross a border to find a better life in America, that we used to be the beacon. We welcome your sick, bring us your sick, your needy, bring us your poor. I see my grandparents who were destitute coming out of a depression. They moved north from the South. They found jobs in the UAW, and it changed their lives. They lived the American dream. That's what this is all about. We can't continue to let the billionaire class and the corporate class divide us over issues because that's how they win. And the issues that matter to us, that matter to all working class people, is having security in their lives, having dignity, when they're too old to work and too young to die.
Let's talk about the workers in your union a little bit. The push toward electric vehicles seems to be a little bit of a pullback on that at the moment. Some of the deficiencies in those, a future that's gone electric. The Biden administration has gone big, saying that's going to create more jobs. This is where we're headed. How do you see the present of the American auto worker and then the future a few years down the road?
We embrace technology changes, that we always have. And the UAW has always stood, for a clean environment. Walter Reuther famously said back in his time, that what good's another $1 an hour in wages or another week's vacation if the place you go to, take your vacation, you can't swim in the lake or you can't breathe the air. I mean, it's, it goes back to that. I mean, we don't know where this is going to go. We've put provisions in place. We've worked again with the Biden administration, Secretary of Labor Julie Su, to put provisions in place that no matter where this industry goes, whether it's electric, whether internal combustible engine continues, whatever that is, that working class people will continue to benefit and will have better standards. We'll have our standards, not a race to the bottom, which is what Donald Trump drives. And, we can't be afraid of change. And so, we've covered both ends of the spectrum, and whatever technology comes down the road, we'll embrace that also. I mean, wherever this market goes, our workers are going to be okay.
Shawn, as we approach this election and you've made this endorsement, what will labor do that now UAW and others have endorsed Biden to energize the laborers, the union members, to come out and vote? Because all of this is moot if your endorsement does not carry the weight of bringing out members and likewise other union leaders.
Yeah, this endorsement and this election, it's about a hell of a lot more than just organized labor. But organized labor has to lead this fight, and we're going to lead it. This is about humanity. Where do we want to go as a nation? I mean, do we want to continue on this 40 or 50 year downward spiral we've been on, where we have this massive income inequality, this wealth gap? I read the other day on an Economic Policy Institute study where in 43-year period from 79, right when Reagan took over in 80 till 2022, the top 0.1% wages increased 344%. The bottom 90% of us in America increased 32%, which if you factor 3% average inflation a year, we weren't even anywhere near keeping up with inflation, while the billionaire class and the wealthy took all the profits. That's what this is all about. We have to focus on humanity. There's a reason why Trump and them want to cut Social Security benefits, and they don't want Medicare for all, and they don't want health care for all, because they want to concentrate all the wealth in their hands. They want to take everything and leave everybody else fending for themselves. That's not something that works for us, but labor's going to lead this fight, and we're in it. And our members have to look at the reality. We have to look at facts. That's why our contract campaign was so successful, because we put the facts out there of the gross inequality between the companies and the workers. And it's the same situation in our politics. There is gross inequality with the few at the top and everyone else to bottom. We have to look at facts, not fiction, not alternative facts or lies, as Trump likes to talk about, real facts. And the facts are very clear.
Shawn Fain nailed it. And he realizes it's not just about the UAW. It's not just about the unionized worker. It's about the entire fabric of our society. It's about Medicare or health care for all. It's about having a good social safety net. It is about having a clean environment, and not even the scare tactics that many would try with the EV, electronic vehicles, and internal combustion engine. Hey, auto worker, be scared. Be very scared. Don't support that green stuff because you know that's your job. Well, Shawn Fain puts that to rest. Shawn Fain says, we accept technology. We also want a clean environment. As one of our leaders have said, why make an extra dollar if you can't later on go out and swim in the lake or breathe the air? Wow. Shawn Fain nailed every point. This is one of those interviews that we should make sure every single worker, not just a UAW worker, not just a unionized worker, every worker should listen to what this president of the UAW had to say.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
You know, it is funny. Daniel said he is speaking the language of global Marxism. I want to remind you guys of something. When I tell you about the chained mind, this is what I'm talking about. When the workers come out and say what they want, right, the things that they want to make an equitable society, somehow, I am not sure how you got into global Marxism, but wouldn't it be global Marxism to make sure that all your products are made as cheaply as possible? Not global Marxism, but global Worcism, where all your products are made at the cheapest slave labored port that you can find, maybe Vietnam, maybe Thailand, maybe the Philippines, and eventually it's made in all those places that when it comes back to the United States, the labor market here is so crashed that you also have to depress your wages here. It's not the globalists or the people you defend, Senor Lado. The globalists are the people who are exporting your jobs. The globalists are the people who are going into taking the people's lands in Guatemala, such that the people who own these farms, these standalone farms in Guatemala, now controlled by laws given to corporations, are coming to America. And then we say, why? Why are these people coming here? Let them come legally. Well, when we took their land, these big agribusiness, etc., you see, the problem is so few would pick up an international paper and read the things that are happening in these other lands, right? Anyway, Bridge MCP says, Egberto Willis, please read if you can. Did you know that labor unions made the following 36 things possible? Well, I'm going to read 36 things. Well, because it's you, yes. Weekends off for work, all your breaks at work, including your lunch breaks, paid vacation, family and family leave act, sick leave, Social Security, minimum wage, Civil Rights Act, Title 7, which prohibits employer discrimination, 8-hour work week, overtime pay, child labor law, occupational safety and health act, OSHA, the 40-hour work week, workers' compensation, unemployment insurance, pensions, workplace safety standards and regulations, employer health care insurance, collective bargaining rights for employees, wrongful termination laws, Age Discrimination in Employment Act of 1967, ADEA, Whistleblower Protection Laws, Employee Polygraph Protection Act, which prohibits employers from using a lie detector test on an employee, Veterans Employment and Training Services, VETS, compensation increases and evaluation raises, sexual harassment laws, Americans with Disabilities Act, which prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public. Holiday pay, employer dental, life and vision insurance, privacy rights, pregnancy and parental leave, military leave, the right to strike, public education for children, Equal Pay Acts of 1963 and 2011, which require employers to pay men and women equally for the same work, laws ending sweatshops in the United States. Damn it, Bridge. That was rough. All right. Michael Rudden says, what does slavery look like now? Our nation has 25% of the world's prison population. As old school slavery turned into prison labor via the 13th Amendment and mass incarceration, there's also the matter that 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, earning below living wages and struggling to keep from going underwater into debt. Lastly, these mental slaves who are stuck in a this is how it is and can't see we can fix these problems with our society. We have a few of those last ones in the chat. Well, look, you see, all of that is mixed with a bit of other isms, okay? And they allow themselves they allow their prejudices to rule. And by the way, I saw you mention about what Eric was talking about, Fannie Willis, Bridge MCP. Notice I ignored everything about Fannie Willis because anybody speaking about the issues with Fannie Willis are racist. That is a racist issue because Fannie Willis, if you go under the underpinnings of what's going on there, it is a racist issue. And that is the reason they brought it up, because they know they would have been able to drag out the racists on the Fannie Willis thing, right? So I disregard it just not to have a discussion that identify the racists who would talk or try to identify with that breach. That is the reason I don't talk about it at all, and I won't speak about it at all. Anyhow, continuing. Let's see. Paul Fleming says, surprisingly, absolutely no one. At Kia World, EV9 has surpassed 10,000 sales a month. It looks like they are taking advantage of being the only real global 3-row EV SUV in this price bracket and just scooping up conquest sales. Awesome. I wouldn't be surprised if that grew to 25,000 a month when the US line opens. It's very difficult to overstate just how this single model is going to change the market. 3-row EV SUV with the best in class charging and great range. You know, I would love to get me an electric car, but I can't afford one right now. But eventually I will. You know, the next car that I buy, I hope, will be an inexpensive electric car. Whenever, you know, our next car conks out, whatever. But it is interesting. Activism don't pay before software engineering. It would be easy to get that, but activism doesn't pay. So I have to watch my dollars. Let's see what else we got here. Mike Cisak, if you actually want to stop immigration, this is from Mark and Rudin, prosecute all businesses that hire undocumented immigrants. If you remove the demand, that by the same hard crackdowns that you do the border, but at the corporate level, you'll find a fix. You know, this also proves that supply side stuff never works, right? Get rid of the demand, because again, if you want a lot of bread, demand bread, you get the bread. America has a drug problem, but we don't want to fix what our problem is. We want to blame somebody else. We killed 10,000 Panamanians or so because America had a drug problem, right? And Manuel Antonio Noriega, they use this as an excuse to come and pick him up, and in the process shoot down and kill a lot of people. We are irresponsible people who want to blame our addictions on somebody else. We are the addicted ones. We are the ones who want to put those poisons into our veins. It's not something that somebody say, I'm going to stick you with it. You decide to put that poison in your brain. But we want to blame other countries. Come on now. Grow up. Grow up. Yvette Avery Harris says, let's compare that to the CEOs of the companies that his members work for. You can't even compare. I imagine I missed a part of that conversation, but if it's out of our union activists, it is right. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to have to read that one later on. Let's see. Lee Grant says, what about Cori Bush? Is that racist too? What about Cori Bush? That right wing has really gone after her because she is paying for security and that her husband is a part of the security team that she's paying. I think it's a great thing. Let them go after Cori Bush, because when she comes out of this, people are going to get to, look, remember, she's been investigated several times already. What can I say? Tom C. So now MAGA fanatics hate the KC Chiefs because Taylor Swift and Travis Kay support Biden and the Dems. Will Trumpers join Nancy Pelosi in San Francisco over a Bud Light to root for the 49ers in the Super? Good one, Tom C. Good one, Tom C. All right, let's see. Eric Hayes says, here we go. Blame people for drugs, not the thugs at risk. Of course it's the people's... Who else is to be blamed for the drugs, Hayes? Personal responsibility. Isn't that something that you all used to teach as in Republicans? Personal responsibility. It's not the fault of the thugs that they're putting stuff in their veins. It's a fault of security. I saw that bridge Shawn Fain. It's same phonetically. Sinn Fein, but I said Shawn Fain. Oh, Sinn Fein. Okay, I got you. Means Gaelic, we ourselves. Weird about the union leader's name, Shawn Fain. I know. When I heard it at first, I thought we were talking about the Irish guy coming over, Anyway, so I repeat, Mr. Hayes, come on now. Let's be clear. Okay? All right, I'll listen to that one thereafter. We're coming close to the end, and I have a Texas Alliance meeting right after this program. Let's see. Eric Hayes says Egberto is on the side of cartels where 100K die per year. Eric, that just shows your mentality right there. That shows your mentality. I said personal responsibility. We shouldn't be, if there's no demand for the drugs, there would be no drugs to demand. The people must take personal responsibility for what they put in their veins, for what they put in their bellies. Okay? That is what you all used to stand for. Personal responsibility. To claim that means I stand with the cartel, that shows limited thinking. My brother, love you, but that shows limited thinking. And in fact, it doesn't speak well about the way you process data, sir. Love you, but that's just the truth. All right. Anyhow, let's see what else we got here. We're coming close to the end. Lee Grant says a true Irishman would never spell Sean that way. That is funny, Brother Grant. Brother Grant, that is funny as hell. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. Okay, I think I've gone through all. I have another video, but I don't have the time to play it. It's 6 minutes long. But I needed to shave it down a little better anyway. So I will do that, and we will play that video about the Trump the Trump supporters that Raditz interviewed. I want you all to see that one. But anyhow, we got to get out of here. So before we get out of here, I want to ask all of you to become supporters of the program if you can. And how do you do that? It's not difficult at all. To support the program, please, let me get the screen over here because it's going all over the place. All right, to support the program, let me cancel out of here. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/support, politicsdoneright.com/support. And here is the link, politicsdoneright.com/support. And that has all the different options to support the program. Alternatively, you can also, or as well, you can support our Substack newsletter. Our Substack newsletter is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It is free. So please subscribe, whether you pay for it or not. But I tell you what, anybody who pays for it get to access all our books, all 5 books that I've written, and the other books the subsequent books that I write will be there. So please go ahead and go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter to subscribe to our newsletter. And by the way, we have a catch-all link now. It's at politicsdoneright.com/info. I'd like you to go to politicsdoneright.com/info. That takes you to all the different things that we do. politicsdoneright.com/info. Let me make sure it's working, that I spelled it correctly. There you go. politicsdoneright.com/info. So please feel free to go out there and visit us. Anyway, people, my dear brothers and sisters, I got to get out of here. To my favorite conservatives, to my favorite liberals, to my favorite progressives, please keep coming, because that is how we make change. And some of you may think that I give a hard time when I get some harsh words like our minds are enslaved. It's not something that I haven't ever told myself as well, because I had to unleash the chains from my mind, as well, as I once believed in this economic system as presented today. Okay? I no longer do. And I know there's a better way, and that is what we have to fight for, a way that protects us all, a way that makes us all a party to the riches of this country that we are currently denied because of the parasites that rule at the top. And I'm graphic with that word. They are parasites. And you listen to them in the boardroom. They believe they are entitled to your excess labor. If you listen to how they make you think, when Eric said, or rather, when Ledo said that the unions overprice workers, I want you to understand what he's saying. Did he ever say that the billions that Musk, Gates, and all these guys have is your labor not realized? It's your labor not paid to you. There's a better way. There is a better way. We cannot, these people are invested from the media to otherwise that they own to keep your mind fried, to keep your mind in chains. They are invested in doing that. And they do a good job. Some of the people in our room points that out. But we have to be smarter. Thank you so kindly for being here every day. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please.